just wondering, as you're watching these pictures come out of UT Austin, I know you've been watching Columbia as well. What do you make of this? Is this reaching a bit of a tipping point? And what is the message to the Biden administration, especially, in the case of Columbia, he's heading to New York tomorrow?
Brianna, thanks for the chance to be on with you. And I am thrilled and relieved that our president has signed into law this critical supplemental aid package, and look forward to talking with you about that. I can't see the images that you're referring to on this current setup, but I'll take from what I'm hearing from you that there's a unfolding situation at the University of Texas, Austin, where there's some confrontation with law enforcement by protesters. Look, students, like all Americans, deserve the right of free speech to express themselves and their concerns, but they also should be doing it in a way that doesn't interfere with other students' ability to attend university, to feel safe in their dorms and on campus. And there's been an alarming rise in anti-Semitism and in aggressive actions against Jewish students on a number of campuses across the country. All of us need to find a better path forward for listening to each other, respecting each other's opinions in Congress, on campuses, and around our country. One of the things I think is a real positive, Brianna, about this bill ultimately passing the Senate with a broad bipartisan vote is that it happened after months of division and difficulty in the House. So hopefully the young people who are learning what it means to protest and to be passionate and to be engaged in civic discourse on campuses around our country will also learn how they can do that in a way that respects the rights of others.
Let's talk more about that aid, because you had said recently that you would support restrictions on aid to Israel if they go ahead with a full-scale ground campaign into Rafah without taking into account their obligation to protect civilians and facilitate the distribution of aid. Today, an Israeli government spokesperson said, quote, Israel is moving ahead with our operation to target Hamas in Rafah. Do you have any concerns about that, considering there are no conditions on this new aid to Israel?
So look, I do have concerns about the IDF, were they to go into Rafah at scale and make no accommodation for civilians. I do want to highlight that in this package the president has just signed is $9 billion in humanitarian relief. That's critical for preventing famine in Gaza, as well as for dealing with the emerging famine in Sudan, providing humanitarian assistance in Ukraine, and a dozen other countries around the world where there is a humanitarian crisis today of remarkable scale, hundreds of millions of people facing hunger or starvation. I do think that the ongoing war in Gaza is going to continue to test and strain relations between the United States and Israel, and I am optimistic that the IDF will ultimately listen to the concerns expressed by many of us in Congress, as well as by our president.
And what will make them listen to those concerns if there isn't any conditions?
Well, look, at the end of the day, what's going to matter to them more than anything is a stable, secure, reliable relationship with the United States. I'll remind you, just about 2 weekends ago, Iran directly attacked Israel with hundreds of drones and missiles. And the United States, under President Biden's leadership, helped pull together a coalition that included the Jordanians, the Saudis, the British, the French, to defend Israel against a direct attack from Iran. My hope is that that demonstration of an ongoing support from the United States will do more to persuade Israeli government leadership of the importance of our relationship than anything else.
We are just learning that Israeli-American hostage Hersh Goldberg Poland appears in a hostage video, which is the first proof that he survived injuries on October 7th from the Hamas attack. He's one of 5 dual U.S.-Israeli citizens held alive in Gaza, to our knowledge, in addition to the 4 dead hostages whose bodies are being held. Do you think enough is being done at this point to secure release of American hostages?
Brianna, seeing that news earlier today was a huge relief. I met with Hersh's parents, Rachel and John, in Tel Aviv 2 weeks after the horrific attack by Hamas, and they showed me the video of him being thrown into the back of a truck by Hamas terrorists with his severed, bleeding arm. And I've met with them several times, communicated with them many times over the last 6 months, and I've prayed repeatedly that somehow Hersh might have survived. his wounds were significant, and that he has survived, according to this video, is a great blessing, and that his parents have the comfort of knowing that he is alive, particularly during this Holy Week of Passover, is a great blessing. But it is a reminder of the ongoing psychological terrorism Hamas is carrying out against the loved ones of those they are holding in captivity. I think more needs to be done. The Israeli government did come further forward in the offer that they made to Hamas in recent negotiations. And the Qataris, who host the political leadership of Hamas in their Gulf state, have expressed deep frustration that Hamas did not accept the latest offer of a hostage for prisoner exchange and ceasefire. The most important thing that could happen in the next couple of days before any assault on Rafah would be the release of hostages by Hamas and a ceasefire as a result. That would allow for more humanitarian aid to be distributed in Gaza. That would provide relief to families like Hirsch's parents who have suffered so much. And that would allow for some positive path forward in the region as we continue to try and advance negotiations between the Saudi kingdom and Israel about a broader regional plan for peace.
Senator Chris Coons, we certainly do appreciate your time. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you.
And we're continuing to look at those pictures out of Austin, Texas. This is the UT Austin campus, UT at Austin campus, where you see state troopers and protesters. This is, as we understand it from a student journalist on the scene, by far the biggest sort of, I don't want to call it an altercation, but the biggest police presence and a bit of a standoff between troopers who have been on motorcycles, and there you see on horseback, and students protesting Israel's war in Gaza since they began months ago.